Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We have made it to the end of another week, and we are also going to finish out this section of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, which is called the Beatitudes. Now, we actually finished the last Beatitude yesterday, but the section of sermon continues with just 2 more verses that I want to sneak in there before we move on to his next topic next week. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 11, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me." Yesterday, we spoke about the final beatitude, which talked about persecution. Maybe you saw that. I encourage you, you can go back and watch it if you didn't. We talked about the different types of persecution that we face in this world. And Jesus is reiterating that issue again here and talking a little bit more specific. He mentioned specifically insults or all kinds of evil, being false statements made against you, potentially slander and those things. And he says, for the cause of me, because you're mine, because you're my followers, blessed are you who are persecuted for my sake. Have you ever thought about that? It was a while ago, I remember having something similar like this happen, rumors running around, things being said about me. Maybe you've experienced that. It is not fun. And you wish you could track everyone down and change their mind. And yet sometimes those things can spread so fast, especially in today's culture, with the internet or gossip, all those things. Anyway, I remember the Lord just hitting my heart. And he made me think about all the people in the Bible, even Jesus himself, who was misunderstood, who people spread rumors and lies about him, think about it when Jesus was here. The leading priests and the Pharisees and all these people were literally campaigning against him, to use common language, literally were calling for his head, right? They wanted him to be murdered, and that's what happened. And so Jesus was misunderstood. Jesus was ridiculed. Jesus was talked about and falsely accused and all these things, and he did it for the cause of God. He knew his mission, and he came here for a purpose, and he had a plan. This is what God has asked me to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And he did an awesome job, right? He completed his mission fully, making it possible for us to have a relationship with God through his sacrifice. And so I thought about it, in the book of Hebrews, one of my favorite books, and in Hebrews, it talks about Jesus as our high priest, right? That he's a priest that understands our sufferings as he came and he walked on this earth. And what that portion of scripture is talking about, and again here, is reminding us that Jesus can empathize with our pain. You see, Jesus understands what it's like to be made fun of and gossiped about and lied about and falsely accused even. And yet, when you keep your eyes on mission, when you recognize what your course is and what your purpose is, it's actually a high honor to be persecuted for the cause of Christ. But Jesus takes it a step further. He doesn't even refer to himself. Instead, he brings us to mind the prophets. He says in verse 12, "Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Sometimes we can feel lonely. Sometimes we can feel like we're the only one. Sometimes we can feel like it's just happening to me. But Jesus is reminding us here that, there are many believers that have gone before, that have experienced the same thing for my name's sake. And as I referenced a moment ago, we know Jesus himself, experienced extreme persecution for his faith in God, right? And so I want to encourage you today that no matter what you're facing, stay on course and consider it pure joy, my brothers, as James says, whenever you face persecution of many kinds, of hardships, of trials, of struggles, of all of those things as life brings, do it as unto the Lord. Hey, if you missed out on any of our Beatitudes that we've covered the last 2 weeks, go back and check them out. These are beautiful little tidbits as Jesus explains the plan of salvation and how we as believers can live our relationship out loud for him here on earth. He talks about things that are blessed to live like and the promises that follow in your life. And so I encourage you to go back and watch those. Next week, we will continue on with Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. You can sneak ahead, cheat in class, look at the next chapters. But to give you some high points, we're going to be talking about being salt and light, the fulfillment of the law, murder, adultery, divorce. It's going to be a great week. So I hope to see you again next week as we talk about those things with another daily dose for spiritual growth.